Good afternoon, and thanks for coming. We all know throughout the nation, violent crime is on the rise, to include the city of Tampa. So in order to combat this issue, we started an initiative, our Safe Summer Initiative, which included opening some of our pools and parks between the hours of 6 and 12 p.m. to give our kids a safe place to have a nice summer. The second phase of this initiative involves the gun buyback program. We'll be holding a gun buyback on June 27th between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. This location is 401 East Bird Street, which is at the intersection of Bird and Florida Avenue. Of course, this couldn't be possible without some of the generous contributions of our partners, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I would like to introduce the mayor for a couple of brief comments, and I'll be back to the podium after that.
Chief, thank you. It's, it's unfortunate when we have to do this. I mean, all of us would hope that the epidemic of gun violence around the country would wane. We would hope that our kids would have an opportunity for a safe summer. We would hope that the random acts of violence committed by young men who seemingly want to resolve every problem with a gun would be over. But unfortunately, America finds itself in a position where that's not the case, and Tampa is no exception. I mean, we have seen a spike in the number of incidents involving firearms. We've seen a spike in the number of murders in the first 6 months of this year by comparison to other years. And we're not going to stand idly by while this happens. And while young men and young women and other unsuspecting victims, but particularly our young men and young women, are gunned down in the prime of their life by folks who choose to engage in the violence that we're seeing. And so, as you heard the chief say, we've done a number of things to try and get these young people off the streets and get them into a safe environment. Whether it was doubling the capacity of our summer camps, of quadrupling the number of scholarships that we have given out and will continue to give out. We hope, as opposed to last year where we got 4,000 kids involved in our summer camps, we hope to double that number to 8,000 children. We have opened up our recreation centers in East Tampa and parts of West Tampa, 7 days a week, open till midnight, because I want those kids to have an alternative to the streets, to have an alternative to the corners where they will be seduced by the gang life and by the street life, and we have got to give them options. And the other thing that we have to do is get these guns off the street. The cities of America are awash with guns. There's a lot of reasons for that, whether it's people who leave their guns in their cars unlocked, people whose guns are stolen in home burglaries, and the availability of illegal guns on the street that end up in the hands of people who are willing to use them to settle minor disputes. Our city deserves better. And the young people of our city deserve better. I met 3 of them before I came in here, young Dejanay and young Daniel and young Barry. Little kids, not much older or younger than my kids. They deserve the same opportunities that my 2 little girls on Davis Island have. And it shouldn't matter whether you live in East Tampa or Sulphur Springs, or whether you play at Woodland Terrace Park, or whether you play at Jackson Heights. They deserve a safe environment. And so we're going after the guns. And we need the community's help. The last time we did a gun buyback in the city of Tampa 3 years ago, we took over 1,000 guns off the streets. Now, there are folks who will say that gun buybacks are worthless. There's no point in doing them. To those people who would argue that, I would say baloney. Come be a mayor for a day and tell me that any gun taken off the street, whether it's a senior citizen who perhaps their husband or wife passed away and left guns in the house, well, those guns potentially could end up in the hands of criminals as a result of a home burglary. We want those guns regardless of how you came into possession of them. We want you to do the right thing for Dejanay and for Daniel and for Barry, and come turn those guns in, and we will pay you $50. The less guns that we have on the street, the less opportunities for bad guys, bad actors to get their hands on them and use them. And those little kids potentially will have a safer summer for sure, and hopefully a brighter future. So we are happy to do this. We're going to continue to do whatever we have to do to get the guns off the street and prosecute those who use them. So we need you to turn up at the gun buyback. We'll give you $50. Bring the guns with you. Whatever the condition are, bring them with you, turn them in, get them off the street, get them out of your closet, get them out from underneath your bed, get them out of your glove compartment, and bring them where we can confiscate them and put them in a safe place, no questions asked, and we will have a safer city as a result of it. Now, we couldn't be doing this today without the help of Jeff Vinnick and the Tampa Bay Lightning. We would love to have won that Stanley Cup. The mayor would love to have gotten a ring. I just thought I'd throw it out there. No, the mayor doesn't get a ring. But what Jeff Vinnick and Lightning have done potentially could have a bigger impact on our community than winning that Stanley Cup. Because every gun that we take off the street potentially could save a life or multiple lives. And when it's all said and done, sports are just sports. But the lives of our kids are far more important. The Lightning is funding this with a $50,000 contribution to this program. We could not do this without the generosity of Mr. Vinnick and the Lightning. And we are forever grateful for his support of this community, his willingness to personally make this contribution, and for the support of an amazing organization that came within this close of bringing home that Stanley Cup. We may not be having a parade tomorrow, but we're going to have a parade next year. But we couldn't have done it without the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Eric is going to introduce Steve Griggs, who is the president of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bring us those guns. $50, bring us the guns. Let's make this safer for DeJohnette.
As I mentioned earlier, this could not be possible without the support of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'd like to bring to the mic Mr. Steve Briggs for brief remarks.
Thank you, Chief Ward. I'm honored and humbled to be here. I'm here with Elizabeth Frazier, our Executive Director of the community, or of our Lightning Foundation. We're representing Jeff Vinnick, Todd Lywicki, and the entire organization of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And we're standing beside the Chief and the Mayor in our commitment to the efforts to make this city safe and crime-free. As you know, we've gone on a glorious run over the last 2 months. And we appreciate all the support that we've gotten from the community here. Throughout that journey, 13 home games, we awarded community heroes over those 13 games, just like we did in the regular season. Jeff and Penny Vinnick were committed to continue to do that throughout the playoffs. Over those 13 games, we awarded over $800,000 in community grants to 27 nonprofits, including the City of Tampa and Mayor Bob Buckhorn of $100,000. Those funds will be used for some of the summer initiatives that Mayor Buckhorn talked about, but really it's also about the element of the gun buyback program that we're so excited to be a part of. And we're proud to be here today to support that. Ms. Williams, we're sorry for your loss, we're sorry for your pain, and all those others who have gone through the same loss and suffering, unnecessary violence here in this city. So we as the Lightning stand with the Mayor and the Chief, and we're committed to eliminate the violence on the streets of Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Earlier this year, 14-year-old Richard Newsom was murdered on the streets of Tampa. His murder was a result of senseless violence. I can imagine the father having to go through or experience this incident. And it was evident by her presence today that she's committed. She's committed to helping resolve some of the violence in the city of Tampa and bringing her son's killer to justice. I'd like to bring to the mic next Ms. Danielle Williams for some brief remarks.
I just would like to say that the gun buyback, I think that's a good idea. It'll help you, it'll probably save a lot of lives. I'm praying that it does. I wouldn't want no other mother to go through or feel the pain that I have been going through. I also just would like justice for my son. It's like no one wants to come out and speak. I think people should like step up for that. If it was someone that you love, someone would want to know. Basically, I'm just asking y'all to take the guns to the location where they gave you and sell them. I mean, they're just sitting around in the house. They're not doing anything. They're just going to kill somebody. The wrong hands get a hold of it. You could be like I am right now. I just would really like for y'all to turn those guns in. And if you know anything, see anything for all the murders that have not been solved, come forward and say something. I thank y'all for today.
As a reminder, it doesn't have to be, the kids bringing the guns to this location. If you're a parent and you know there's firearms in your house that shouldn't be, by all means, make them safe and bring them to the location, which I'll give again. It's 401 East Bird Street. We need to take the guns, out of the hands of these juveniles that are committing these violent acts of crime. So please, by all means, on the 27th of June between 8 and 4 p.m., do the right thing. Bring the firearms to our location, and you'll receive a $50 gift card or cash